buddy of mine, I keep saying this, but a buddy of mine made this for me. It rocks.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Blew it.
Mr. Gary John, welcome to the Right Balance
Thank you.
podcast. How was you're local, right?
Yeah, about 15 minutes out.
Nice. And then you're Armenian.
Armenian.
Nice.
From Yerevan.
Yerevan, born and you came here
Came here at 10.
at 10?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, this is like now the Armenian capital of
Yeah, Glendale
of
and
the
Burbank.
world.
Yeah.
I'm Cuban, and like Miami. Miami's all the Cubans. Glendale is Armenians.
Right.
Actually, I kind of wanted, like I was telling you earlier, I reached out because you started following me, or I started following you, and then I made a post, and it really captured me. You commented on one, and you said something along the lines like, "I see you," and I was like, "Oh fuck, man, that's cool." And I don't know, maybe you were like, "I see you, motherfucker," or I forgot what the context.
I think
is.
I remember. I don't remember the context of why I commented, but I appreciate whatever you. I don't know if it was a video or a picture. I really appreciated it. So I was like, let me just put my little feelings there. I'm like, I see you. Like, I appreciate what you did. You know,
and that's what I got out of it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I got out of it. I was like, what? You know, I was like, what a simple and cool comment that, like, you know, all right, that puts you on my radar. And then, like I said, just 2 weeks ago, I was a family barbecue. We were having hodovats, which is Armenian barbecue. There's always alcohol involved, and then I was just feeling good, and and then I just jump on, look at some messages, and I saw your post. You're always posting. I see all your posts, but that day I was like, dude, come on, join the podcast. And then you're like, all right, and you just signed up, and here we are.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that comment. I appreciate what you're doing. How long have you been writing, and what's your page about, and where do people find that page?
Well, you can find me on almost every platform, from Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I go by Sayan 420, and it's the same for everything. What was the other question?
And then how do you spell that?
SAIYAN 420.
Perfect.
That's such a rough voice, though.
Yeah, no, it's good, man. It's fine. It's natural. How long you been writing?
I've been writing a little bit over 4 years, if not reaching 4 years right now.
And how did that happen?
Ooh, very. It happened by me lying to my girlfriend, and mostly lying to myself, and false reasons into getting it. But want me to tell you how I even made the move?
I want to hear
my
it.
interest, my spark to biking. Well, my whole life, my dad always told me, stay away. Like, this is a death trap. You see those bikers over there, like out of nowhere. Like, I had no interest on bikes. To me, a bike and a car were the same thing. It was just not a transportation. So I didn't have any opinion or feel about it. So every time he pointed it out, I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not paying attention. So until a day came where me and my girlfriend went to Thailand, and very quickly we figured out, depends where you are from if you're on an island, if you are in a specific part of the city, there's no real cops, and the mob runs a lot of the
towns, yeah.
policing. Yeah, a lot of the policing is done by the mob, and some of the services, such as taxis. So for us to drive or get taxied for about 5 to 8 miles, it was about $20 American, which was ridiculously high. So after using the service a couple of times, I'm like, well, I don't want to burn through money, and I want to keep going A to B, C to B. Like, I wanted to keep exploring, and I'm like, I don't want to.
You don't want to be limited, and yeah, of course.
So, never rode a bike in my life, other than one time my cousin gave me his bobber, or like a small 50cc motorcycle, and I just balanced it barely down and up a street. That was about it.
What was that? Was that had a clutch and gears, or that was just the throttle like a scooter?
I think it was just a throttle, because I remember barely, like, I had the brake and I had the gas, unless they just put it in first gear and they're like, just go. So that was the only thing. So no real experience. So I was like, you know what? Let's go rent something. Can't rent a car, and I'm like, I don't know how to ride a motorcycle, but what I do know is that scooters are automatic.
Right. They're just throttle, yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like riding a bike.
Right. Yeah. So we went down to we spent another $20. Go dropped us off at a little motorcycle rental place, and I was like, "Hey, let's rent this out. It's a 250cc scooter with room for a passenger and some luggage." And put my leg over it, put my girlfriend in the back, put the luggage on, and I literally took off. And about 100 feet in, I'm struggling to balance the bike. I am stressed out of my mind because we're on an island, on one of the islands from Thailand, and the traffic is crazy. We're going up to an intersection. There's non-stop cars going in circles. And so my stress level was through the roof. And I was only reason we didn't fall over is because I was super strong at the time, and I was complicating with strength. So instead of skill, I was just using brute force. But about 100 feet in, I relaxed. The bike balanced itself. After picking up speed to 5-10 miles per hour, and out of nowhere, I naturally just relaxed, and I just felt the bike, and I was like, "Wow, okay, I guess I can do this." So out of nowhere, it went from super difficult to like, "Okay, we're enjoying this. Let's relax. It's not as tense." 180, just like that. So that was the beginning. Actually, it was very weird because I got a weird sense, almost like in my soul. I was like, almost like a freedom feeling. I don't know. It was like a really, really crazy feeling I never had before. So, by the way, that was the only time I touched a motorcycle, quote unquote, the scooter. Used the scooter for the island, and then we went back to the city, and then we got another scooter. I was like, this was a great experience. So I also used the scooter in the city, and then after we got back home, that was it for about 4 years almost. I would say 4 or 5 years, 3 to 4 years. That was about it. No bike, nothing until life happened, and I decided to get a motorcycle or even a scooter. I was like, I'm gonna get something small. Let me do my research. I was like, maybe I want a 125cc, maybe a 50cc. So I started watching videos on scooters, motorcycles, and I'm like, wait, I have friends that ride, like I have 1 or 2 friends ride. I reached out, and the first thing they told me, like, almost laughed at me. They're like, haha, you're 6'2", 200 plus pounds. What you even looking at?
Yeah.
So they were like, you should get 1,000. And I seen a couple of thousand, and it was very intimidating. I was like, look, from the research I did, this is very dangerous, and most likely I'll live for about 10 minutes before, I'm underground.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, start on a 600, about 3 months of research on motorcycles, techniques, on basic fundamentals. I decided to pull the trigger and get my 2019 Kawasaki 636. And that's how I got into it. Even though when I bought it, I knew the skills, like I mentally knew how to, but I didn't have the experience. So I still had my friend drive it home. And then after that, it took me about a month to learn the fundamentals, counter steering, balancing, clutch, just like mastering the beginning skills. So I really didn't want to drop the bike. I really did not want to mess up, because at that point I realized how dangerous it is and how quickly you could just like disappear. So yeah, that's how I started.
That's amazing. It's a wild story, and the fact is, in the Armenian community, it's like, I've been to many countries, and motorcycles are ridden everywhere.
Yep.
The people that were just in here earlier, they're from France, and it's like, you go to Thailand, France, South America, it's normal.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a culture that's so anti-motorcycles, and Armenians are like, and Armenians know, because they drive crazy, man. They're like, full throttle, yes, like this, that. And it's like, put yourself on a motorcycle, it gets insane. Yeah. What was your parents' reactions of when you got your bike?
My dad definitely came around much quicker than my mom. I think about 3 months in, he realized, around a few months in, he realized, like, he's not backing out. But as usual, it's dangerous, you're gonna kill yourself, all the cliche stuff, which is I was expecting it. So I was like, it's not a big deal. Thank you, I appreciate it. But but at the same time, I was like, I don't want to die on a bike. So it just made me that much more encouraged to get even better at it, because I'm like, I know myself. Well, not at that moment, but as I kept riding, I was like, I know myself. I want to go faster, but but I want to know if I could be safe as I go fast. Like, what's the safest way I could go in a faster pace?
Right.
So after my dad making me realize that hey, you're not only living for yourself. So I started taking it way more seriously, and then my mom took about twice as long, maybe a year to stop. Every time I walk in the house, have you quit? Have you sold a bike? Like, just always pushing back, always like in an insulting way, instead of like there was no back and forth. It was just her pushing back. There was no like hear me out or anything like that. But it took about a year, but we're everyone's on the same page.
And now they accept it.
Yeah.
How does
because it's a lifestyle.
Of course, it's a lifestyle. You said it's a lifestyle. It's the way you train. It's the way you ride. It's the way you think. It's the way you sleep. It's what you dream. It's what you want. It's what we want to be doing right now.
Right.
How has getting into motorcycles changed your life? Has it changed your life?
Ooh, massively, actually. My whole life is surrounded about motorcycles right now, and I live with them right now. So completely changed my life to a completely different line. Actually, at the beginning, in the first year, I saw nothing with it, but in the first 3 months, I kind of got an idea how expensive it could be, because in my first month I went from the 600 class to a supercharged bike, which nobody do this. It's very stupid.
Bad advice.
Bad advice. Financially and risk level is like, I'm lucky to be alive. Okay, like that was very stupid of me. So in my first month, I traded in my 66, bought a 2018 Ninja H2SX, and because of that choice, I owned money on the 66, so whatever I paid on the
you're upside down.
I was upside down, about $3-4 grand. I think it was $3,000.
Right.
So on top of getting a used bike, now I'm paying a premium price, like a brand new price. So at the time it was cool, but I got the most complex bike in the world at the time, and I'm sorry, what was that?
No, we were talking about your current motorcycle. How you started off with the 626, then you went to the bigger one.
Yeah.
It was a bad decision.
Yeah.
And because it was a bad decision, you don't recommend it. But how this is affecting your life and how it changed your life.
Oh, I was saying, because at the beginning I wasn't taking this too seriously. I was like, oh, this is just fun, something on the side. But
it's a hobby.
Yeah, it was a hobby. But when I realized how expensive it can be and how expensive it is, I started to I opened up the page, my Instagram page. It had a completely different name. I think it was an H2SX, whatever, very generic. So I'm like, let me document this. I'm like, if I'm spending like thousands of dollars on this on a monthly basis, let me take a picture here and there. So that's how it started. But it wasn't even like this is gonna go anywhere. It's just like let me put this on the internet. So if I lose it, or if I want to go back to it in later in my life, I'll have it. But as it goes on, I was like, damn, I'm really investing my time, my effort, my learning, spending a lot more money, getting the gear, realizing the gear could be more expensive than the bike.
Yeah.
So yeah, the more I went down the road of I'm gonna keep riding motorcycles, the faster I'm gonna go, the expenses kept going up. So I'm like, let's find a way maybe to change this, maybe find a way to have some revenue, or maybe find a way to generate some income. And that's where it slowly started. So
you started posting. So what were you doing before you had your motorcycle? So before you had your motorcycle, you had just you had a job, you had a business, you had a family thing, and now getting the motorcycle, it put you into a different thing. Are you still doing the same thing? Or is this a business now?
Now it is. It's actually very recent. About 4 years, and it finally is. And the skills I generated from this 4 years of editing, shooting, publishing. Now I'm using it for someone else. Like I'm shooting for someone else, creating for someone else, and that just happened. And
so let's just let's slow it down.
Okay.
So right now, your website, what can people expect to see when they go to your Instagram, and what? So you're a full-time photographer, or you're doing video clips for people?
I think the right word for this is a full-time content creator.
Okay.
And / freelancer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So now,
to simplify it.
Okay. No, and then perfect. I just want to understand it. So you're a content creator, freelancer, and now you're getting booked and you're getting jobs with all the skills you've developed in the last 4 years.
Yes.
And you're making content for people and getting paid.
Yes, for their content, for
That's
their
pretty
styles.
fucking cool.
Right.
That's all. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's actually happened out of nowhere. I'm happy it happened. I'm happy the person gave me the opportunity. And you know, I can't wait to see this where this takes me. But until I got here, I was doing well at the very beginning. I worked for Office Max, Office Depot.
So you're just doing the regular grind.
Regular stuff.
So you went from regular grind to getting into motorcycles to complicating motorcycles.
Yeah, very complicated.
To spending lots of money on motorcycles to, wait a minute, let me document these expenses so I don't repeat this. And then it just turned into a business. And now you do this full time.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's outstanding. And then on your Instagram, how, again, they can go to your Instagram and see it, but how would you describe what you display? Like I see a bunch of stuff.
Well, right now I would say it's about 80% entertainment for entertainment as in something cool to watch, like from the danger aspect, like damn, most people can't do this. So it's more entertaining to watch someone else actually pull it off and not die. But my goal is to actually transfer that over to mostly providing value in a sense of teaching my experiences, the way I learned, the skills I developed. There's because a lot of times for this motorcycling thing, there's beginner skills, mid-tier skills, and there's high-end level skills. And unfortunately, they kind of mix, but not fully, because if you want to ride fast, you can't use your beginner skills or your mid-tier skills. Unfortunately, most likely it's going to get you killed. So moving forward, I kind of want to be more on the educational side. And since I switched careers and just left my previous job, I'm going to be having much more time and much more opportunity to actually focus on what I want to do for myself and what I want to provide versus I rode, I cut it up, made it look pretty, slowed it down, put music, look how cool I go around the corner. So as moving forward, it's going to be less fast stuff and more talking for the video, talking on camera, and hopefully, doing podcasts like you, or even, more stuff like this, just more educational, more entertainment on the side of being off the bike.
Yeah.
Because I do want to minimize
very important.
And I do want to minimize the risk because to ride at those pace and not die, the expense is ridiculous. One ride could cost me anywhere from $500 to $2,000 a ride. So
yeah, it's a lot. Let's jump into your experience in safety gear, because what and I've talked about this a lot on the podcast, but people don't understand. They'll spend $5,000 on a motorcycle and you want to only spend like $200 on gear, and that's not the way it is.
It shouldn't be, but unfortunately it is,
Well, here it shouldn't be like that, because in other countries, I understand that a scooter or a motorcycle is a way of transportation. It's an affordable way of transportation. People, it's more common because they can't afford to buy a car. Having a car is inconvenient. Yeah. Parking is inconvenient in many places around the world. Here, there's ways of negotiating. This is a tip that I'll give. When you buy a bike, negotiate an allowance to buy gear.
You can actually, if you don't know this, if you're gonna finance your bike and you're already getting a good APR on your bike, I would recommend. It's available for anything. If you're gonna go with a bank, you can actually get the gear, and they will add the gear price to the bike, and you can actually do the next step, which is get the gear discounted. So price match the gear, talk to your salesperson, and you can actually get a very good deal out of it, because a lot of people get the gear on premium prices because they're like, well, why would they negotiate with me? You got to remember, end of the day, you're going to pay back everything plus APR, so.
Yeah, and not only that, but you're so excited that you're getting a motorcycle.
Yeah, you don't even think
about deals. And then later on, you're like this. And it's true what you're saying. I used to work for Harley Davidson many years back. When you when you buy a car, usually they only finance anywhere, depending on the credit, but they usually finance 70 to 90%. That's why you have to put the down payment. On motorcycles, back then, Harley Davidson would finance up to 140 or 160% because they wanted you to get the helmet and the jacket and the gear and everything else. So it was advised. But what are some of your favorite safety gears? Because now there's so much stuff. There's airbags, there's crazy helmets, there's transitions, there's shoulder.
That's a great question.
Yeah, what's some of your favorite stuff? What are you rocking right now?
Well, what I'm rocking is the top of the line, like the highest quality stuff you can buy, like Alpine Star Dainese, but like I'm wearing is about $5,000 worth of gear. I'm wearing a level 2 rear vest. Like I'm wearing a very high protective armor, but at the same time, he has a level 2 rear vest, and I'm on top of that, I'm wearing an air vest that inflates, but that also has another level 2 rear back armor. So I have 2 armors with an air vest, with elbow scrapers.
The air vest pads. Is what's an air vest?
Air vest is like a airbag in the car, but you're wearing it on top over your suit. That's one of the options. You can also
over
get
your leathers.
Over your leathers. So it's not.
And do you have the? Do you have? I'm sure I know what you have, but just so people have an idea, are you getting the old school ones that it was a cable with the CO2 cartridge, and if you fall off the bike, it pulls? Or is it the computer now? Because Alpine Star now makes a computer or Klim.
There's almost everyone's coming out with the air vest. They all have their way of doing the computer version.
They have a computer version with a subscription model.
Yeah, I think the ANC does a subscription. Yes.
Yeah.
Mine is the old school, but depends how you look at it. It's not really an old school.
Oh, it's not old school. Yeah. It's just you fall off your motorcycle, you go off. No, I said old school.
Oh yeah. But like, because where I ride and the gear I wear, I would say if you were a city rider, I would recommend over a vest that you wear on top of your gear. Because if you're having a lazy day, you don't want to put on all your gear, just put on the air vest, man. It's a difference of if you crash and you fall off your motorcycle and you're only wearing the air vest, at least your chest, your hip, your neck, at least your neck's not gonna break off or literally fall off your head. It pretty much inflates all around your shoulders.
And it makes your head tuck in.
Yeah, forcing your head pretty much being in a straight position, and your ribs. I had a serious crash one time, and it was at the track, and I'm pretty lucky that I didn't die. So after that, at the track, and from that experience, my safety level for gear went through the roof. I'm like, I had good gear. But obviously, what I'm doing, good gear is the bare minimum. So that's when I went got the highest quality leathers, highest quality armors, strongest armors, and went and invested into an air vest.
So you got leathers with a back plate. You got your vest with a black plate, back plate. You have elbow guards. Shoulders, your jacket, shoulder guards. Shoulders. Are you wearing a one suit? Are you wearing?
I always wear a two-piece because my riding is normally in the city, in the canyons.
Yeah.
And then inside, starting now, it's chest plate with hip protectors as well. So double hip protection as well.
What helmet are you using?
I use Bell. For
Which model?
It's a difficult one. Just Google Bell flagship helmet, and it'll come up. It's anywhere from $550 on a sale to $850, and it has all the comforts, all the cool gadgets, the self-changing visor,
the transition visor,
everything you could think of it.
Kind of like that. No,
it actually no. In the morning it goes white, and at dark it goes white. In the morning it goes.
That one does the same thing.
It goes with the rays of the sun. So
just like that. Yeah, with the UVs.
With the UVs, yeah.
Depending on how strong the UVs, it will tint automatically. Yeah, that's one of my passenger helmets on the top left, the Bell.
Oh yeah. Awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah. So no, they're great helmets.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. ACH. Or
you know that's Zuma Canyons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's all the way in the top of Zuma Canyons.
It's a great picture.
And then that's Malibu.
Awesome.
That's Malibu. And then this is not Chuckwalla, Willow
the smaller
Springs.
one. Okay,
Willow Springs, yeah. So Yeah,
Nice.
I gotta, I'm happy we're talking about this because,
Yeah.
I'm always talking about, safety. I gotta up my safety gear.
What do you wear?
Here's the thing. I have 3 different motorcycles that are, depending which bike I ride, I have to, because one's a Harley and I got to wear a vest and I always wear boots. The BMW, I have more armored gear because, it just feels like it should be more armored on the BMW.
Okay.
Then I have a live wire, and then the live wire I have like leathers with just, just regular pads and stuff like that. And then I have different helmets depending on which one. My favorite helmet that I've been using a lot is the Icon on top of the couch right there.
They look cool.
Yeah, they look cool. I like it. Looks great. The only thing that kind of drives me crazy on it is because the shield's so long, it comes down, and when you open it, it's like a sail.
I see.
And the wind kind of like catches.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to like open it up. But other than that, when it's closed, it looks mean as fuck. But yeah, I have a bunch of vests. I have a bunch of jackets. I do have armored pants, but those are like the adventure bike pants, so that's more for the BMW.
So you dress you kind of also dress to match the bike as well.
Yeah, which is stupid, but
No.
it's true. But I can't wear my Harley Davidson vest with the BMW. It's stupid, but it's.
I guess. I mean, if I had, I would have worn the same gear for all the bikes. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
After my crash,
I think most people do, but I've had such a long history with Harley Davidson. Like it's the only thing I really rode. And then the GS I got into because there was a few people that I knew. We rented a bunch of them and we took it to Joshua Tree. Like I think it was January or something. So it was raining when we got to Joshua Tree. It was muddy. We went to no man's land. We went through all these different environments in 3 days, and the bike handled like a champ.
Oh yeah.
So this one guy negotiated a deal with Riverside BMW, and we picked up 5 motorcycles, individuals, and they gave us a deal, and got hooked. And then that's been like my number one bike. And then recently, in the last few months, I've been riding the Livewire more, and now I'm like, I like the Livewire. And then my Harley was kind of acting out. Now the Harley's working good, and now I'm like, oh, the Harley.
What was the problem?
Power failure.
In what sense? What do you mean?
Full riding, 60 miles an hour, power.
Interesting, like decompression.
LCD, motor,
Interesting.
everything, gauges. The bike would shut off while riding.
Okay.
So they couldn't figure it out. I took it. If you look at my personal Instagram account, there was 6 weeks where it got picked up 4 times and towed to Glendale Harley. And now the last time they fixed it, they had a technician come from Harley Davidson, and they found a wire in the wiring harness that caused the power outage.
Oh wow.
So, but it was super annoying because it would shut off and then it'd catch back on once I stopped. And then I'd take it to the dealer and I'd be like, it's shut off. And they're like, well, we need to duplicate it because it's an electrical problem. So it was this back and forth, and it was just, it was super annoying.
Yeah, I had similar cases with my the supercharged bike.
Really?
I actually put the engine, not shut up, but electronic to a mechanical. I had every issue you could think of. I've had with that bike. It was almost 2 years of back and forth with the dealer. At some point, the dealer literally had the bike longer than me.
Well, that's what's happened. Same thing. The only problem is that it started really acting out, and they were able to duplicate it after the factory warranty. So lemon law was like out. Otherwise, if it was like 4 months earlier, they would have lemoned it.
Similar case, yeah.
Because it was like 30. It was like 30. It was twice at the dealership for more than 30 days. And then I had dropped it 4 times where they picked it up. Like it was just a mess.
Yeah,
it was just a mess.
I can imagine.
Yeah, but now they figured it out. It's riding so
yeah.
rich. And then Harley, when it's nice and cool like this, it just because it's such
carbureted?
a hot motor. No, it's not carbureted, but it's almost 1900 cc's.
Okay.
And Harleys get really hot. So right now it's riding mean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I dig that a lot. What did you take any training courses?
I've taken 2. My first one was just the basic one to get my license. I didn't want to go to the DMV one. I took it about 9 months in, learned absolutely nothing, but I was there. I paid the money. I'm like, at least have fun. I'm like, I'm not. It was very boring, but I did my best to have as much as fun as I could, because they were literally teaching you to use the clutch 30 minutes at a time. Like use the clutch halfway, use the clutch full, but like in 30-minute sequences. So that was my first one. And then the second training class I did was with California Superbike School about maybe a year ago now. And not a year, maybe 6 months ago. And also, I didn't learn new skills, but it refined my skills, and my experience was really good. So I recommend anyone that has $600 to spare. I mean, if you're gonna get a new exhaust, I would highly encourage you to take the class, because one class could put you over years. Like if someone just rides to ride and not rides to get better, you can literally be ahead of people that have been riding 10 plus years. It's
huge.
It's super huge. They did their whole training, so everything's very modern. You're taught by professionals that actually are winning and have won a world class races. So it's everything's up to date, and they go off of stats of the professionals. So and then they explain it in a way where the bike doesn't know you're on the track or the street.
Yeah, of course.
So as long as you understand the technicals and how it operates and what it is and why it is, your situation of location does not matter at all. So it just refined all my skills. And I was riding for over 3 years. I was still not confident with some skills. About a 5-minute practice they did with me refined like that. It was a game changer. Like I was so happy. Like I was like a little child again. Like yeah. I can't believe this 5-minute practice just made my skill like 7 out of 10 to 10 out of 10. Now I can counter steer smoothly and have the bike fall into my desired lean angle without any interruption and without wobbles after the bike is at the lean angle, because now I understand what's happening, why it's happening, and what's happening during, after the input of the action. So it's very complex because they break it down heavily, but it does make sense. They use examples of every sort. If you don't understand, you can ask a question. You can you get a trainer, private trainer. It's like 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, and it's very inclusive. So highly recommend it. I'm looking to go to do my level 2, level 3, and then private is level 4. So it's like wherever you are, they just improve you instead of teaching you.
Do you always you've always been only on street bikes, huh? You never tried like the Harleys or the Adventures?
I've tried every bike there is, actually.
Oh, nice.
Everything. Yeah. And only class of bikes that I'm scared of, and I would and I still stay away from is cruisers.
Why is that?
Because every bike is the same except from cruisers, because to simplify it, their wheelbase length from front wheel to the rear wheel is much longer, because it's a lot of times facing outwards instead of straight down. It forces the rider, unless you're riding one that has technology where you go to use the front brake, instead of being 80% to 95% to 100% braking with the front brake, and with cruiser bikes it's normally 60-40 on average. So if you're riding fast, if you're doing something quick, if you're in a dangerous situation, you really need to understand the skill level of your bike, and you got to understand the technique for a cruiser bike, because now you got to implement the front, the rear, and not lock up any of them to slow down at maximum efficiency. And then at the same time, now let's say you're slowing down, you're like, damn, I gotta maneuver and then continue braking. Now you gotta lay off, maneuver, and come back. The skill level to ride a cruiser is more difficult, and
it's more demanding.
It's more difficult, demanding, and you have to learn something new versus everything you know about every other bike. So from having a slower turn in, less lean clearance, to the tire types they use, it's just a more difficult bike to ride. So if you're gonna ride a cruiser, you definitely have to dedicate time to master that class, in my opinion, at least. So if I would ever decide to start riding cruisers, I would dedicate at least 1 to 2 months to make sure I'm 100% with the rear brake, I'm 100% with the front brake. I'm sure what the maximum lean angle is and how quickly I can do it, back and forth. So pretty much all the fundamental skills, I would make sure to understand where the limit is. So when I do reach the limit, I don't just low side or high side. I know how to come back and then reuse the
momentum.
Yeah, the momentum or the brake or whatever the case is. So
That's interesting. The brake thing I will challenge.
Sure.
You know, I again, when I worked for Harley Davidson, I worked when they didn't have ABS, and when you didn't have
That's what I'm saying,
ABS,
yeah.
you have to pump and this, that. So this was like in 2007. If I remember exactly, in 2008 they introduced ABS. All new baggers have ABS, so you can't lock up your wheels. It doesn't matter
Awesome.
if you squeeze your front, if you squeeze your back, it's impossible. You do have to control or manipulate yourself if you're doing 50-50, you know, or whatever, 70-30. The BMW has technology of what you were talking
the
about.
linkage.
They have the link braking, where you just automatically apply the front. You don't even touch the back brake anymore. You automatically brake, and it just controls 70-30, 30-70, back and forth. But the wheelbase depends on the bagger, you know, because if you look at the police Harleys, when they used to ride those Harleys, they used to do circles like crazy. I did my DMV test on a street glide.
Yes, those ones are more forgiving and actually
Yeah,
capable.
their rake. What we're talking about
Yes.
is the rake, not necessarily the frame, but their rake is shorter compared to like a chopper. When you have a chopper,
Yes.
your rake is ridiculous. It's just super stretched out. You get a lot of bounce. You get a lot of feedback. I mean, that's your bar hopper, you know. But if you look at the Ultras, the street glides, even the road glides, the rake is so close. I'm telling you, I can do the DMV. I did my DMV.
I'm sorry, I should have been more clear. It's only I'm only talking about the bikes that have the rake really up front.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because when
Yeah.
you, because you're
Because it's normally in the cruisers where they when they have it way in the front.
yeah, like show bikes and stuff like that.
Sure, that's the extreme cases, but
Yeah.
even I've
Yeah,
seen
that's also
some.
true.
Yeah, I've seen,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like
it's
the
only,
Ghost
only
Rider
specific.
bike.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like only specific. Look, if your wheelbase is really long and your bike weighs like 500, 600, 700, 800, 900 pounds, it's just more demanding to ride and it requires more skill.
Yeah, no, and of course it takes more skill and more practice. It's just I've been riding those again 20 years, so they're so like
You're in
they're
tune
so
with them.
comfortable, and that's one of the things. That's right. That's where I'm very proud of my skill level, because I ride the BMW, which when I put the bags on, it's super wide. The Street Glide or the Live Wire. The Live Wire is nothing. It's super thin. I can ride those bikes equally the same, cutting through traffic and manipulating and getting around. And that's where I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter too much. Street bikes I never fucked with. The only time I messed with street
What kind
bikes,
of street bikes are you talking about? Like anything? Any
I'm talking about like street bike. Yeah, 600s, 1000s.
Oh, I see, like super sports.
Like super sports.
Super sports,
I never fucked with it. I fucked with an 1125 once on a track. That's a Buell.
1125. What's that?
A Buell? You don't remember Buell, huh?
No. So I'm pretty modern.
Yeah, so there's a guy named Eric Buell. He made these super high-tech super bikes, okay? And he linked up with Harley Davidson back then. And these bikes were fucking phenomenal. They for example, Eric Buell made the rotor of the wheel, instead of on the inside of the rim, he put it on the outside of the rim. So you had direct braking power on the point of the wheel that's making contact. Genius. The oil tank was on the swing arm of the motorcycle, so it was built in.
Wow.
So you had better balance. The gas tank, he built a frame around the gas tank, and the frame was the gas tank. So then it was more lowered and centered to gravity.
I see.
The top was
under the rider.
like under the right. Well, like, so here's your tank. Instead of this being full of gas, there was the frame was bigger.
I see.
And you would put the gas inside of the frame.
Okay,
Yeah.
much lower to the ground.
Much lower to the ground, and then the top was the airbox.
I see.
You know,
Yeah.
So he had like a bunch of innovative ideas like that. There's just a thing where Harley didn't push it as much as they should have, and they made the 1125, which was actually, I think that's the only one they still make that races nowadays. But it never caught on for marketing purposes. But they were an amazing bike. I took that one to Laguna Seca, and I will only ride a street bike or a super bike only on the track. Like on the city, I ride this like crazy. And this is huge, awkward, not aerodynamic, and it's like people are like, "What?"
Yeah.
And if I had a street bike, I don't know, you know, because I say this statement. Tell me what you think of this. 90% of motorcycle accidents is rider error.
I think you're being generous.
You think I'm being You see, because this goes back and forth. So people are like bullshit.
My personal I only speak from personal experience and stats, but
I think last episode I said 95, but there was an accident recently, and I was like, I bet I'm maybe bring it down to 90 because people are getting mad. But yeah, I think it's
yeah. I would personally say about 95% rider error, because just because someone else caused you to have an accident, it built up to there. You just didn't magically appear on its blind side, or you just didn't magically fly off the canyon, or you got spooked, because it's the riding is very complex and has so many layers. Until your crash happens, there's thousands of things that happen before it, and depending on your mindset, a lot of times you can actually avoid all of that. Like, from personally, I'm a fast rider, but
I say aggressive rider.
Aggressive rider, but close calls. I'm at a point where close calls are not part of the recipe. Like, if a close call happens, most likely it was gonna be a freak accident, and thank God I saved it. And only thing I say, like 95% and not 100, is because freak accidents can happen to anyone, and unfortunately, there was no avoidance about freak accidents. You know, if you're doing the speed limit around the bend in a canyon, and a Porsche is coming on the opposite side at 4 times speed limit at 110, and they panic and overtake the corner, and they take you out with it. You know, at that point, you can't do anything. No reaction time, no visual, blind corner. Would be considered freak accidents. You know, stuff like that.
I know 2 freak accidents. Just 2. I know a lot of accidents, but I only know 2 freaks. One was one of my mechanics. He was servicing a bike, and when he took off from the dealership to do a test ride, he was going straight, and the car, he was just going regular speed. So he was going straight. The car on the opposite side did an illegal U-turn out of nowhere and hit him. And it was very dramatic, because when he fell, it was an older gentleman that was on blood thinners, and he was bleeding out. The crazy part was the guy hit him and ran.
Yeah.
And
it's very common, unfortunately.
It's very common. And that's why cameras is another thing you should install on your bikes. But then I was attending to him. Somebody went to the dealership, like, Robert, the guy, blah, blah, blah. All right. So when I went out there, I was like, I was focusing on him, and I was like, you call the police. And it's important. You got to say, you call the police. You got to point at somebody and say, you call the police.
Put a responsibility on the person.
Yeah, because if you're just like, somebody call the police,
everyone's going to be like, you do it. Yeah.
And this is like basic first aid, tips. And this guy's like, hey. And I was like, dude, back the fuck up, dude. And he's like, hey. I was like, bro, leave me the fuck alone. I'm Jeff. Are you okay? You okay? And the guy goes, I hit him. And I'm like, what? He goes, I hit him, dude. And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, I hit him, man. I heard you ran off. He goes, no, I did, but I came back. What happened? Oh, I was driving, and the GPS wanted me to go around like 2-3 blocks, and instead I just thought I'd do a U-turn. And anyway, so thank goodness he stopped, and that was like a freak accident. And then I know another freak accident where the guy's just going to work, and it's 3 a.m. because he works driving garbage trucks. And as he's driving...
3 a.m. at night?
Well, he clocks in at 4.
Okay.
Yeah, garbage trucks, taking the trash. So he clocks in at 4. He's heading over at 3:30 or something like that. It was about a half an hour ride. Anyways, he goes from the number 2 lane to the number 1 lane. And at night when he does that, there was what he described as a big vase. There's just this big, I was like, a vase? He goes, a vase. Hits it, flips. The bike lands on the bike flips. The rear tire hits so hard, the suspension blows up. It just pops out. This was a Dyna. He flips. He lands so hard on the heel of his boot that his boot bust open and his heel's shattered into a million pieces. Anyways, CHP, everybody comes. It wasn't a vase. You know what it was? On the other side, there was an 18-wheeler. And on the trailer, the 2 wheels, they just serviced it and welded it. That snapped off both wheels, hit the car behind it. The car behind it made it go to the other side of the freeway, lands standing up. The CHP said it was like 250 pounds of just tires and rims.
Yeah.
Lands on the other side, and that's what he crashed into.
Wow. That actually, I got my buddy into riding, came over, did all day of session of riding, having fun, practicing on how to get better. He takes off home. About an hour later, calls me. He's like, hey, I'm on the 5 freeway. Come pick me up. Same thing. 18-wheeler blew the tire, and middle of the night, it's like 9:30, 10:30 at night. didn't see the tire, hit it at like 100 miles per hour or something.
Just the tire.
Well, tire and the rim, like right in there.
The rim and the tire.
Yeah, actually, no, I think it was just a tire.
Just
Big ass
tire.
18-wheel tire. Hit it and went flying for like 100, 200 meters on down the freeway. Got up right away. If he didn't get up, he was gonna get run away. So he got up, he jumped. A car missed him by like inches, and next lane over, also another car. He jumped, but it clipped him on the leg. So he pretty much run across the freeway. And if he didn't follow his instincts to get up and run, he was gonna. Unfortunately, that's how we died. We get run over after on a freeway crash, and he was gonna get run over. So
that's fucking terrible.
Yeah, the 18-wheelers, man, are crazy.
Yeah, this was the axle.
Oof.
With
Yeah,
the two rims
the
and the two tires.
Yeah, that's
like
wow.
Yeah, that was the only thing. But
it's like
then
hitting a dead end wall. Then
what's that?
it's like hitting a dead wall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. It's like hitting a wall.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's anyways, that's all there. But like, I mean, then I hear the stupid accents. I had a guy one time come in with crutches. What happened to you, man? Oh, I was riding my bike and this truck cut me off. So I cut him off and I gave him the finger. I was like, well, then what? He hit me in the back and took me off the road. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Like, that's so fucking crazy. All right, since you agree with that statistic, this is a new thought.
Well,
go ahead.
Before we move forward, in this 4 years of me writing, I've had about over 25 people that have died that I've known, and there are 3 of them that I knew personally. So like,
that's crazy.
That is crazy. Like, and unfortunately, only 1 to 2 were freak accidents, and I just lost another close friend about a week ago, and it's not clear if it was a freak accident or not. So details are not out, but man, this shit is very dangerous. So that's, talking about the gear and thing it is very important. So
well, here's the thing. The reason that I tell people 95% of accidents is rider error is because if you ride at a safer speed, if you wear the right gear, if you're alert, if you have, my point is you have 95% control of your situation. When you start doing, like, I saw one that was terrible in Bakersfield. I think it was Bakersfield. The guy was going for like there's a lot
every day.
It has to be.
But I follow the channel, and they pretty much announce motorcycle accidents and fatalities every single day. For like 3 weeks, I was following them every single day. Somebody at Bakersfield on the freeway on a Harley died every single day. I had to like unfollow. It was like, it's too much. It was way too much.
It's too much. Yeah, I saw one where the guy was going like 150, and he takes a red light, and the car's passing like, and that's the one. The
guy that went flying.
I don't even think he flew, bro. I think once he hit, he just like.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it was horrific. Yeah,
there was one in LA as well. The guy hit a car at 130, went flying.
That's insane. That's instant death.
Yeah,
but that's what I mean.
If you're lucky, unfortunately. If you're lucky, it's instant.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah, I've seen people take their last breath, and that shit is very dark.
It's dark, huh?
Very dark. It's like, because a lot of times they're crying, and they know it's the end, and it's like you can't do anything, and it's just very like sad and gruesome.
Yeah, that's wild, man. Yeah. That's wild that we take those chances. Why do you think people go that extreme?
Well, a lot of people are not going to agree with this, but
Who cares? It's just you and me are listening.
Yeah, okay, then my personal experience says people take the wrong advice and follow the wrong information, from like following advice from their family members, following advice to someone that's been riding 20 years but not properly, just from his self-experience. I think a lot of this could be avoided if they were following a better mindset. Like, I'll give a good example. So if you watch a lot of YouTube, I would recommend check out Moto Jitsu or check out Dan. They give you the basic fundamentals on the accident, and they break it down. And Dan does the great breakdown, and Moto Jitsu gives you a great understanding from beginner to mid-tier riding experience, and how it is and why it is and why do people crash, and the mindset you should have. So
do you like I automatically assume that it has to be also your environment.
Yes.
Like the Harley guys are going to get, not all of them, obviously. There's everything. There's everything in every category motorcycle, but like the Harley guys, because of their group, are going to drink more beer and get in bar fights. Okay. They're probably going to ride drunk or, buzzed versus other groups. The super bikes, those guys are going to be averaging at speeds of 100 miles an hour because their friends are going that fast. They want to go fast. So how much would you say is the environment or the influence of people?
Just talking about it is not much, but when you're at the environment,
and we're not professionals, we're just talking our experiences and our thoughts, and
this is our personal experience, what we see and the environment, I would say, is about 100%. If you're not sure on where you stand and where you stand with your skill, where you stand with your riding, where you stand with yourself and with your bike, the environment ends up being 100% of influence of what you're gonna be doing. And who you're with, pretty much. So unfortunately, every person that I rode with that drank beer, alcohol, a few of them have died riding, and a few of them have crashed and miraculously survived. So unfortunately, every person that I rode with that drank and rode at the same time, sooner or later they were in an accident. I'm not saying it was because of the alcohol, but it
didn't help.
It doesn't help. You need every concentration, you need every focus. Every second you could get, you need every bit of it. So
this is, again, it's just what I do because I know my limits. I'm 207 pounds. My rule is 2 wheels, 2 drinks. That's it.
It also how it affects you. I mean, if 2 drinks doesn't do anything for you, I get it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, I just do this because you go somewhere and it's like, all right, 2, 3, 4, 5 drinks creep up on you very quick. And
but also you don't go and push the limits of your bike, I'm guessing. Yeah,
No.
Yeah,
I ride aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
I ride, I ride aggressive, and I ride aggressive, not like, but I ride like, I'm not gonna waste time. If I'm splitting lanes, I'm not floating around 2 cars. Like, I'm like, okay, this mirror can see me. I'm directly behind this mirror. Okay, boom, boom. I'm going through things quick. I don't want people to have an opportunity.
In my opinion, that's the safer choice.
Well, 100%.
Always filtering.
Oh no, yeah, I do it all the time. My new thing that I started doing recently. Let's say this is the wall divider, right? And you're here and you're splitting. Oh, man, I gotta get more cars. But let's say
that's the first lane.
Yeah, let's say this is the number 1, and this is the wall, okay? And let's say there's cars here and there's cars here. If I'm splitting lanes and this car is being an asshole or not paying attention and he just kind of like leans in here, as he leans in here, I instantly now just go on the left side, and then I get back in front. But now it's so quick that I don't want to fight anybody no more. I used to hit the mirrors. I used to kick the doors. Now I'm like, get away from me. Get away from me. Oh, shit. Oh, you want to block that? Okay. Maybe you're doing it purposely. Maybe you're not paying attention. Maybe you're cock blocking, whatever the case is. Oh, opportunity. Boom. And I'm just like, boom, boom, boom. I'm just looking at the next thing. I don't want to look back. I don't want confrontation. I don't want to be like, hey, bro, I'm not into it. Which brings another thing. I want to see your thought on this. And I strongly believe this, but let's see what you think of this. This is the first time. This year is the first time in LA that I think to myself, it is safer to ride a bike than a car. Ooh. What do you think about that? Can you make that make sense, or do you think that's completely out of my mind, or what do you think about that?
I think that would make sense if if you are the right person. Because
that's true.
Because a lot of people get on the bike for the thrill of it,
right?
And a lot of people also get on the bike to just get to A to B, but but not everybody is like us, Like if somebody pulls in front of us, if somebody does something intentional, like not everyone could just brush it off, because at the beginning when something like that did happen, I did feel the rage, my blood vessel circulation went through the roof. I was very angry, very rageous. I want to get off the bike and beat this guy or break his mirror. So as soon as that happened, I just sped away. But I'm like, oh, so this is what people experience when somebody intentionally does something to them. So if you could control yourself and know your limits and understand the basic facts of how to ride safely in the city, yes, your point completely makes sense. But it applies to much smaller majority than I think we think. So it's probably applies to more track riders because they want to ride better, they want to improve. So if a track rider, I feel like if a track rider decides to ride in the city, they're gonna do their best to learn as much as they can to stay safe on riding in the city. So if someone's willing to do their best to be as safe as possible, and I think that's when it applies.
That makes sense. The reason I came up with this thought is because I would go on the motorcycle and I would, flow through as come and go as I want. And then I'd get in my car and then you get stuck on the 405 and you car in front of you, car behind you, and road rage, and this guy's going to fucking get mad, and this guy's braking in front of you. So now you're trying to get in front of him and he's blocking you, and you're so limited. You're so limited that if anything goes wrong, you're fucked. If there's an earthquake, if there's a fire, if there's a shooting on the freeway. Look, Van Nuys was shot. That's it. You couldn't. Nope. Everybody was stuck.
I already panic about all of that.
What's that?
I'm in my car. I'm on a bridge in traffic. I'm panicking.
I'm panicking. That's why I'm saying.
Earthquake happens, we go down. Somebody runs, we go down. It's just.
You're so fucking easy. Yeah. It's a regular, because now I'm getting a lot more listeners like in the East Coast. I'm getting listeners all over the world, but every winter people start listening to the podcast because we're actively writing and they're writing through our stories. Yeah. And in LA, that's very common. They shut down the freeway and you're stuck.
Hours.
2
hours on average.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been, a couple times where there was an on-ramp that I was able to reverse through. It was an on-ramp, not an off-ramp, and I had to reverse through. But fuck, man, you get stuck on that thing. You don't know what's going on. Sometimes they're just cleaning up a crash. So sometimes they're just trying to control the traffic. Like, it sucks. And I started realizing, like, dude, I want a bike all the time. Like, but, I got a family, I got kids, I got everything else. Okay, what other safety tip would you offer that you've learned?
After safety tip,
what advice would you give for a new rider?
Oh, new rider. Well,
what advice? Yeah, with your experience, your profession, what would be? My name is John. I see bikes. It's cool. They get all the hot chicks. What bike should I get? And should I get a bike?
I see. Well, I would recommend everyone to get a bike, but only if they're willing to put the time in to learn, and if they're willing to invest in the protective gear as well. Because a lot of people just want a bike, but hey, John, if you're thinking in getting into a bike, do you know what kind of style of bike do you want to get into? Like, do you want a cruiser? Do you want a sport bike? Do you want an adventure bike?
I want I'm looking at the Ducatis.
Looking at Ducatis? Well, that's a great choice if you have tons of money. I mean, if you have about anywhere from 20 to 60K laying around, no problem. And
no way, it can't cost that much.
Yeah, it's actually all the way to 120.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's very pricey. If finances are no big deal, no problem. But if you're an average individual, you want to be looking at the used market, and you want to be looking at in the last 5 years, and you make sure because you're new to motorcycling, I would recommend you to look at bikes that have ABS and at the bare minimum basic traction control, because it takes time to learn the throttle. It takes a lot of time to understand when you're spinning the rears. So yeah, you want to have those options at the beginning to have it maxed out and kind of get baby through the experience. So whenever you do want to do something stupid, you have a little safety margin to understand, hey, the bike's saving your life. Either relax or you're just gonna go with it. So at the same time, I would highly recommend getting gear. It's about basic gear with level 2 protection. It's about 70% impact difference. So if you hit a wall, if you crash and you splash into a wall with your back.
Splash into a wall, guys. You hear this terminology?
After 100 miles per hour, we're like a bug hitting a windscreen, okay? what's it called? Yeah, if you get a basic jacket with level 2 armor in the back, if you hit a wall, it's the difference is if you were gonna die, now you're gonna have a broken back. If you're gonna have a broken back, you're gonna have a sprained back. If you're gonna have a sprained back, you're gonna have a bruised back. So that basic level 2 rear armor is a game changer. That's how I look at it. So if I would pretty much push everyone to look at the protective side and actually look at what they're getting into. Just do some basic research of like what you're actually getting into and the expenses. Like, are you getting the bike for fun only? Are you getting the bike for commuting? Because the expenses change depending on what you're doing. So,
how much would you say you should have for gear?
For gear, what do you mean?
Like how much money? Like let's say I
that's
have
a good question actually.
Yeah, how much money should I have for?
Depending on
$500, you think that's enough for gear?
I would say depending on your bike price. How much are you in the first place willing to put down for your bike? How much are you spending on your bike? So like, give me an example with that.
Well, I kind of want to say that'd be irrelevant, but I'm going to play along.
Sure.
$15,000 motorcycle. Let's say I got a Ducati Monster. What is it? The 990 or 1000?
Yeah. Well, you got how I look at that is like you're getting a bike that can accelerate 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds or if not less. So you want gear that actually you're pretty much looking at getting top of the line gear because if your bike can perform at high levels, you want your gear to actually match with the bike's performance at the bare minimum. So if you're getting a $5,000,
so if I buy $5,000, I should buy cheaper gear.
Yeah, well, cheaper gear, but you could, if you're buying a $5,000 bike, you shouldn't. I don't think it makes sense to also buy a $5,000 gear. So like when I bought my $9,000 bike, I only could afford a helmet, jacket, and gloves in the first 2 weeks. And then in the next 2 weeks, I bought the pants. And then 2 weeks after that, I bought the boots. So, and everything was used. My whole gear maybe costed me about $800, but it was very high quality gear, like racing gear that I still have. But it was used and if you have the money to spend like that $15,000, I'm assuming you also have the money to buy that fancy gear. So, but if you only have money for a used $5,000 bike, that means your budget is a little bit less. So you're pretty much looking. So
would you say like
market.
10% of?
I would say 10% of your bike.
Of your bike,
and you can make it work for $500 if you're willing to look at the used market. You can make it work, and it's not going to be very shitty or anything for $500.
And we're saying minimum numbers, 10% minimum. If you could spend more on your gear or spend more on your gear.
If budgeting is like your priority, because for me, budgeting was number one. Like I literally couldn't afford the whole year, so I had to wait for a paycheck. Okay, I have extra $300 savings, so I would invest that into a boot, and then so on.
And then last thing, talking back about your business. Look, my name's Robert. I have a podcast. What service could I hire you for, or what do you offer? What's your packages consist of? You do you do videos writing? Do you do just photography? Do you do talk about your stuff?
Okay, well, I run a channel under San420. I create entertaining videos. I do photography shots. I'm getting into photography, but I also mostly consist of editing and producing content for entertainment. But I also could make content for someone else. If someone, assuming it's in the car and the motorcycle business, I can also shoot for them, edit for them, and help them get a boost into their social media. Pretty much, I'm helping my friend grow his social media and creating content for them with his own equipment. So that's where I'm standing at right now.
So we're getting there. I just want to get a better understanding. So who is your target client?
My target client would be people that are riding or people that want to get into motorcycling. But my market is not set for sure right now because I'm just getting into the side of offering services. So I'm at the beginning stages. So I still have to create my own material and I have material ready for consumption. Right now, it's most like I said, it's about 80% just fun, action, entertainment right now.
Awesome.
It's underway pretty much.
Perfect. And do you have a 3 or 5 year goal?
Ooh, I didn't even think about that. I'm gonna be honest.
Okay.
It's more like
That's what happens on this podcast. You see,
it's more like what I need to get done this week, what I need to get done in the next 2 days. Wow, in the next 5 years, I would actually like to have 10x my audience. I would like to be at a professional level of my skills. From all the skills I have, I would love to have the skills fully refined, and I would love to have my own business of selling courses, personal training people, working for others, with brands, pretty much. What I'm doing on a way bigger scale. So
bigger scale,
which consists of me, improving myself to have those abilities.
100%. Thank you for being on the show. I just want to say one more thing. You went to my website and you scheduled. Yes. How easy was that?
It took me like 2 minutes.
Okay. I just launched that like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, good stuff. You look professional as hell.
Thank you, man. Yeah. And then if you go to the menu, and this is for you guys too, if you go on the menu, there's groups now. Join the group, and then anything that you're doing or you want to promote, it's just another outlet, but it's going to be more motorcycle based, and it's going to help bring people to the website and help promote businesses that are, going into the website. That's rideboundless.net. John, merci.
Thank you for having me. It was very fun.
Absolutely.
First time on a podcast, so, kind of a little nervous, but it's all right.
It's all good, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd be glad to have you again. If you have any news or updates or anything, hit me up anytime.
Definitely.
Okay, open.
Hell yeah.